All right, 7:10 right now. Back in 1978, the city paid $150,000 for a prime oceanfront land in Kailua, land that is now worth tens of millions. But some say that that property was neglected and it has fallen into ruin. Kirstin Downey joins us now from Civil Beat. Kirstin, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so we have pictures. It's a gorgeous plot of land.
It's a gorgeous property. Most of us know it by its name, Kalama Beach Park.
Yes.
And we go there to go to the beach. But in the middle of that property is a fabulous National Historic Landmark house designed by Vladimir Osipov, our world-famous Hawaii architect, who is known for doing Hawaii-style architecture. It's a beautiful house. But when the city got the land and the house back in 1978, they were very glad to get the beachfront property, but they allowed the house to go into very bad neglect. Now a group of residents of Kailua are organizing to try to figure out how they can preserve the house before it's too late. The damage there is really pretty serious. The roof is collapsing, the paint's peeling, the coral columns that hold up the arbor, you can actually see they're starting to fall. Yeah. So really, they've got to do something before it's too late.
Okay, so there's a couple of people involved here. So first, you talked to the city.
Yes.
What did the city say?
Well, the city says they have to use their resources on the parks that are the most heavily used. And that makes sense. This is a small park.
Right.
And they also want to try to steer resources to the places that have fewer parks. And Kailua is blessed with many parks. But this is a unique house that the city has come to own that's being allowed to fall into ruin. And that's what's worrying people in Kailua. They're calling the situation disgraceful and embarrassing.
Yeah, so we're seeing some of the pictures now, but what is the community doing? I mean, there are a number of people that are really...
Well, since the city bought the house, a nonprofit board was created actually back in the 70s and 80s to try to restore it, and it was called Friends of Betcher Estate, and that's the name of the house. But everyone who was part of that board died off over time. And so a new board has been formed, led by a woman named Pam Ross. They've revitalized it. They've gotten a new license to create as a board. And they're looking for philanthropic help and people to help them restore it. So they want to help the city save this house. Now, the house has this fabulous backstory.
Yes, yes.
Why did the Betchers go to live there? Well, they were a very wealthy family that lived in Colorado. And during the 1930s, there was a terrible string of kidnappings. The one most famous is the Lindbergh baby. Right. But the butchers, the Betcher's son and heir, 31 years old, was kidnapped from his house in 1933 and held for ransom. The family was terrified. He survived. The family paid the ransom. But they looked for the safest place they could find to live in America, and they picked Kailua. They built this house, and they picked this promising young architect named Vladimir Osipov, who had never built a home yet.
Wow.
And he was their first commission. That's why this house is a National Historic Landmark.
Yeah, then Charles Betcher came here, brought the family, and the rest is history.
And it's a fabulous Kama'aina-style home. There's going to be a meeting on March 19th there to think about what can be done for the future. It's a chance for people to actually see the house. And people there are very eager to try to get this fixed before we actually lose this house.
Yeah, all right, very interesting read. Kirstin, we appreciate the time this morning. Thank you. And by the way, you can read the full article. They've got great pictures out there as well on civilbeat.org, or you can just text 66866 to get their newsletter. Thank you, Kirstin.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.